What time is it anyway? It's Sunday morning. Hey, Audrey, how you doing? And Kevin Miller, good to see you, brother. Yeah, I'm counting in my head, kinda. So, hold on, I got feedback. Let me get rid of that. There we go. It's kind of like the old, what movie was that? It's an old movie from the 60s, World War II. Was it the Guns of Navarone, or was it the Eagle's Nest or something like that, where they're all kind of prisoners and they couldn't have their watches or their clocks or anything, and they're planning an escape, an elaborate escape plan. And they're all synchronized. At one point they said, okay, now, and they start tapping or snapping fingers or tapping on their leg. And they're all counting out the seconds and the minutes for like a day and a half. I can't remember how long it was, but they were counting out because they all synchronized and they had to stay on beat. So, hey, Scott Allen, how you doing? That always impressed me, that part of that movie. I don't know if that was a true thing that ever happened. There were prisoners of war who planned an escape or something like that, where they were being watched and they had to count out by tapping their fingers. You know, that reminds me, Audrey, you would like this. Do you remember, did you see the last episode of Star Trek Discovery this week? And you saw where, I can't give away any of the plot if you haven't seen it, but where they're being held, the bridge crew is being held prisoner. And they're all, and a couple of the guys, the two guys that do the communications and the other things, they're doing Morse code to each other with fingers. And it was pretty cool. I watched do you ever watch, Audrey, nope, no spoilers. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm telling you. They used the little fingers to do Morse code. And it was pretty cool. And that's not a giveaway. There's more to that scene than that. But do you ever watch the stuff with, what's his name? He played the kid on The Next Generation. Why is his name slipping my mind? And I know his name. And he played, I can't even remember the character name now. What the hell was his name? Will Wheaton. There it is. And he does his after show. After each episode, he does his little, and he has the actors in, or the directors, or the set builders, or whatever. He always starts out, "Hey geeks," or "Hey nerds," and a Will Crusher. That's it. Wesley Crusher. Will Wheaton played Wesley Crusher. Why couldn't I remember that this morning? Maybe it's because my brain's not awake yet. But I was just watching that yesterday. And do you realize that Will Wheaton is now 49 or 50 years old? Because he was like 17 when he did the series, which ended 30 years ago. So that series ended in 1994. So he's between 47 and 50. So if you do the math, that's you don't think of that, and he still comes across as a kid. He had William Riker, Commander Riker, Jonathan Frakes on, who's directed a bunch of the episodes of Star Trek Discovery, and he had him on in this last episode, and it was great. And Will Wheaton was saying, "Yeah, I'm the age now that Patrick Stewart was when he started the role of Jean-Luc Picard." So I think that's pretty cool when you think about it. But at the same time, it lets you know how old you are. You ran into Will at Monsterpalooza. Was he fun to talk to, or was it just a brush by? I know he's got his F. William Shatner gig that he does, but was he better? He seems like he'd be a really nice guy to talk to. Hey, Matt Finn, Master Finn. Good to see you here this morning. I got no Rainy yet, by the way, folks. I have not heard a peep from upstairs. And my son, my 11-year-old, he fell asleep on the sofa last night. He wanted to watch something late, and I'm not really up for that, but it's Christmas vacation. He's only got a couple of days left. What is it? Tomorrow he goes back to school after 10 days. Thank God. If you've got kids, you know what I'm talking about. Having your kids, if you have more than one, if you have multiple kids and they're all home with you, There's only so many places you can send them or things you can do with them before you're done. Hey, Steph, I see you're around. And who else came in? Beth Kirkham, good to see you. Good morning. Happy Sunday morning. And I saw someone else that I wanted to say hi to as they came in. I know I saw Scott Allen, Matt's here. Roger Rabbit, there you are. Good to see you, Roger. Nice to have you here this morning. Say hey to Carly for me. And there's Kevin Olson from Minnesota. Good to see you, KDO from Min. Happy Sunday. Hope you're doing better. Hope you're home now and doing well. And Barry Chad, good to see you. And Steph, good to see you as well. I don't know if we'll have a Rainy quite yet. I don't know. She'll make it down eventually. But I woke up at 4:44 this morning. Do you remember the significance of that time? I've told that story before about Rainy and I about 15 years ago getting the covers yanked off of us in the middle of the night. Well, what seemed like the middle of the night. And just the big old comforter that I had being absolutely yanked off of us. And I reached down, I pulled it back up and looked at the clock, and it was 4:44 in the morning. Well, this morning I woke up at 4:44 in the morning. Nothing woke me up, but whenever I see 4:44 and I wake up that early and I see that on the clock, or I see that pop across the clock in the middle of the night, well, early in the wee hours, it makes me think of that event. So Carly Sagan says, good morning. That's way back. There's not that much of a delay. There's a little bit of a delay, I think, here. But anyway, I got up at about 4:45, and I was out of bed, and I came downstairs. I made coffee. I'm still in my robe. See, it's Mickey and me. There we go. This is my Mickey Mouse robe. I got this robe in, I think, 1998. That's how old this robe is. And it's getting a little frayed on some of the edges and stuff like that. And I know my daughters, my twin daughters were here visiting about 2 years ago. And we all got up in the morning. I was up making coffee and getting breakfast ready. And they came down. They said, you still have that robe? So 1998 would be what? That would be 20. This thing's about 22 years old, 23 years old. And a bunch of us from the regiment, the Highland Regiment, got these. Guy from the regiment said, if you want one of these, I'll get you one. And so we all got one because it's got the Black Watch plaid on it. This became very popular with Calvin. I think, was it Calvin Klein or Polo was doing the Black Watch plaid, as you see here. And the Black Watch was the government set. This is the tartan that was worn by the Black Watch, which became the 42nd Royal Highlanders. And so this was our kilts that we were the Black Watch. Very historic and historical. And so we all got these robes with Mickey Mouse on them. Boom. Oh, there's Mickey. And so robe party happening over here too. Carly and I are rocking out our robes, only nothing else. I got nothing else on either. So it's just my robe this morning. It's because I'm going to hop in the shower and I didn't get a chance yet. Because I got up at 4:44. That's where I started, 4:45. Came down and the kitchen was an utter disaster. And I mean, and we just cleaned it like a day ago. It only takes a day. Imagine if I left my children to their devices and for 2 days. Imagine what that kitchen would look like. Every pot and pan was dirty. Well, I will say this. Some of the pots and pans were left over from 2 days ago. Because I did all the dishes yesterday, and I didn't feel like doing pots and pans. And so I left them, and so then we used pots and pans yesterday. Every single pot and pan in the house, encrusted with Rainy made orange chicken as an Asian dish. There was old spaghetti in one that had been, scraped out of there, but it still needed washing. And every single pot and pan in the house. So I had to, I started at 4:30 this morning. I brewed my coffee, started washing dishes. I didn't finish till 6:30, 6:35, something like that. Maybe almost 7 o'clock. Because I remember saying out loud, there, I've spent 2 hours on the kitchen and I'm done. So my kids also have, Raini and I have talked about this before. They have, how about your kids? They have this great habit of, this would drive some of you who don't have kids and have never lived with kids or have kids out of the house. You aren't going to relate to this very well. But my kids they'll take a piece of candy or a Pop-Tart or some snack, a cheese stick out of the fridge, rip off the wrapper. It's mostly the two little ones. The girls, drop it where they're standing. They keep walking. And when I see them, I'm like, hey, what's that? And they go, oh, and they bend over and pick it up and say, oh. You know, my natural inclination is just to toss it over my shoulder or on the floor and walk on. But it was like the other day, I walked out in the living room and the floor was an absolute clutter of wrappers and papers they were drawing on and markers and just about everything you can think of spread all over the floor, toys. And I walked out in the living room and I'm like, I can't find 1 square foot of space to walk in. I said, all right, everybody, let's get this picked up. I said, this is nonsense. And by the way, our living room, it connects to the kitchen, kind of an open layout here. And so my kids, not only was it in the living room, it was in the kitchen, all through the kitchen, under the table, all their shoes and their snow boots and coats all over. I'm like, do we put hooks on the wall we got bins where they can set, each one has their own bin to put either their wet boots from outside or their shoes, gloves, mittens, scarves, hats. No, it's all over the floor. And this was Saturday. No. Because they didn't have school, but there's been times where they dig in their backpacks or when they're in school, the backpacks are all over the floor too. And it's like, this is where Raini gets some. He goes, he always calls them you people. I look at my kids, I go, hey, you people, is this how I taught you to live? I don't expect white glove clean around here, but I have expectations of you, and those expectations are based on the things I have told you to do. One of the things mom and dad tell you every day is hang up your coat, hang up your book bag, your backpack. Pick up your wrapper. Don't throw your wrappers on the floor. Walk it to the garbage, which will take you a whole 2 seconds either direction. And yet they still do it. It's like no mental capacity to retain that information. So there you go. So there, I've been ranting about my kids for 5. But I got up this morning and everything was kind of still picked up. Yesterday, I just took a broom in that living room as they're picking up, and I swept everything. Papers, wrappers, toys, boots, socks, towels, books, everything they had all over the floor. Everything got swept. I used the broom and I swept it off the carpet and into the tiled kitchen and everything from under the table and everything all around and under the countertops or the counter bottoms and everything in one big massive pile. And I said, okay, everybody, now go through that pile, pull all your stuff out and put it away. And anything that's garbage, throw it out. What's left, I'll take care of. And there's just little bits and pieces after that. So, yeah, cat puke. We had cat puke the other day. It happened right in front of, we're cleaning. It was that day I was cleaning, Friday or Saturday. And Raini said, oh, the cat just puked. Ooh, she can't handle it. And so I went over and picked it up. And thank goodness it was dry. It was not a big slimy hairball. So she just threw up her food. Or he threw up his food. So, the days of only a Rob and nothing else, says Matt Finn. Finding the positive, Roger. You too rock. What did Roger say? That was so positive. Oh, robe party? It's an unknown benefit to having a semi-immobile child who can't really leave her room unless you assist. Robes and pantless time as much as you want. There you go. Well, that's kind of nice. There is an upside. There is a silver lining to some things. I understand that. I need to start making some comical short Instagram videos of these sweeping piles. You know, I started documenting it at one point, and I have a bunch of pictures somewhere because it was the daily pile. And it's like, what the hell? I'm like, how can I sweep up a massive pile of you people's junk and wrappers, and then the next day it's the same thing again? How do you accomplish that? You accomplish that by not paying attention to what you've been asked to do. And I've said I've used the guilt trips, I've used the terror tactics, I've used every tactic I can. The reward system doesn't work. It's like, then I picked up my wrapper. Do I get a new video game? I'm like, no. You pick up your wrappers for a month and we'll consider a new video game. I will give it to my 11-year-old boy. He doesn't do as much of that anymore. He's pretty responsible, pretty quiet kid. Steph says, being a mom, I can handle the puke and poop. I can't handle other people's vomit. It turns my stomach to even watch people vomit a movie. Sorry, Steph. Beth Kirkham, totally relate. I gave birth to one, but always had a house full. Yeah, there you go. And friends come over and all of that stuff. Now, my older kids weren't quite as bad. My girls were okay, but they would also leave. There was a pile at Kevin Olson remembers the big house in Bloomington we had, that with the big fireplace and the finished basement with the fireplace downstairs. And my daughters had their room down there and stuff. My office was in the breezeway, and there was a big picture window with no glass in it that went from the breezeway over the stairway that went downstairs. There was a big picture window that looked into the living room, and stuff would get chucked by my daughters or by me even that was theirs from the living room. It's like down the bottom of the stairs. Whoosh, there. Now you can get that on your way to your room. Or when you're coming out of the kitchen door over to my desk, you could pluck it over the railing down to the bottom of the basement floor. And sometimes that pile would sit there for a week and accumulate. And I'm like, do you guys ever pick anything up on your way to your room and take it with you? There's a pile at the bottom of the stairs. Now, I didn't go down there much other than to do laundry. Or I did have a roommate for a while who rented out that other fireplace room downstairs. That was her bedroom, and everything was down there, and she had the downstairs bath she shared with my kids. And but going through there was sometimes nightmarish. It's like, guys, pick up your stuff. I don't get that because I like things to be picked up. I like neat. I don't need white glove. I don't need bleached. I need picked up, neat. Make it look livable, but comfortable. I can't be comfortable in a mess. Then my kids come in here, and they'll sit at my desk and play videos or something. And every time I come in here, it's all over. There's wrappers here on the floor, Q-tips all over. It's because Rowan plays with makeup, and she uses Q-tips to apply things. And the garbage can's right there, right behind my chair. Does she go to the garbage can? No, it's all over the floor. So there you go. Yeah, they watch Hoarders sometimes. Yeah, Scared Straight Hoarders would be a good, would be a great show for my kids. But like I say, I've used the reward tactic, the nice tactic, the terror tactic, the hostage tactic, every tactic in the book to get them to remember. Then I've got Ellery, little Ellery, my beautiful little 6-year-old who's got the attitude of a angsty 16-year-old. Man, she's a pistol. She's smart. She sees the way the other kids act, and she picks it up and intensifies it. Yesterday, I'm telling her now. I said, look, she's screaming at me because I asked her to pick up her wrappers. Just going on. I'm like, hey, knock that off. This is going to take you all of 4 minutes of your life to pick up the things that you should have thrown out in the first place. I don't want to do this. And I said, I don't care. I said, do you think, I said, how about, oh, I said, you know what? Mom and Dad don't feel like cooking. You know why? We don't feel like it today. It's not our food. We won't be eating it all, and we don't feel like it. So I think we just won't do that today. And, we get all kinds of yelling and screaming and tantrums, and it's a tantrum over picking up your stupid cheese wrapper. Cheese stick wrapper, the big long vertical ones, and they're split like a banana peel, and they lay on the floor all over the place. It's usually the little one. It's like, how many cheese sticks did you have today? We told you could have one. And I had one. And you count, why do I count 7 wrappers here? You're not going to be able to poop for a week. So, but I told her to pick it up, and yesterday she was yelling at me. And I said, hey, wait a second. And I bent over and I looked her in the eye. I said, you stop yelling at me. And she takes her stuff and she turns and tries to go around me, circumnavigate me. I'm like, excuse me? I said, I happen to be talking to you. And I grabbed her by the arm and I put her right back where she is. Now you stand right there and you look me in the eye. And there was a little terror tactic in there, If you do that again, I'm going to cut off your feet and put you on a platform and give you little things and so you can roll yourself around. It'll be harder to walk around me. So Matt says I'm bad with leaving my clothes on the floor intact. Or in fact, I believe my clothes from yesterday are still in my bathroom. Yeah, well, that's what my kids do too. They leave their clothes in the bathroom. Now me, I've got hooks on the back of the bathroom door. I got hooks inside my closet. This is my closet, by the way, right here. I've shown you that before. See? Here, take a look. A little bit of the inside. Now, this is the worst you're going to see me do is right here. Look at this. Well, you can't see it. It doesn't go that low. But I've got shorts. I wore those to bed last night. I took them and I hung them on the doorknob. Did you open up my closet? What do you got? You got a couple of pairs of pants hanging on the hooks. You got undies, bandanas, socks, all stuffed in these little things. Now, this wasn't me. Raini got that. So I started using that. But you can see, there's my clothes. That's where they go. You know what I got in the bottom? I got a basket. You know what goes in that basket? Matt? Dirty clothes. So that's my closet. And that's what I put hats up on the hooks and scarves and different stuff. Now, again, I'm not weird about stuff. I'm not persnickety. I just like things to be neat. Neat only because when it's not neat, it's yucky around here. I tell my kids, take pride in your house. How about you? Do you take pride in your surroundings? Now, leaving your dirty socks somewhere. I have a bad habit of sitting down, and if I have my shoes on and I'm watching TV and I'm tired, I kick off my shoes, and they're right there by the the coffee table in the living room. They sit there, and I'll pick them up the next morning. So, Captain, I'll get them in the basket. There you go. That's an order. It's an order number 1. So, Roger says you need to start making. Oh, that was the comical short thing. Yeah, that's going to be some of the extras. Now, I haven't. By the way, for those of you who are members, I promise that there's a newsletter coming and that there's going to be some extras coming. Raini and I are going to be doing some paranormal investigation, some ghost hunting coming up. There's going to be some members only videos while we're doing that live. So if you're not a member, folks, come on over and join up. And I'll just go through it right now for those of you who don't know. $2. It's just a member that says, hey, love what you're doing. Here's $2 a month. And I love what you're doing. I support you. And it doesn't get you any special perks other than, hey, thanks for doing that. I appreciate that. That's $2 a month. There's $5 a month, which gets you a couple of more things. You can hit the join button wherever it is on here, and you can see the perks. You get some extra videos. You get invited to the coffee videos. You get invited to, which we're going to do on Monday. You get invited to some other things. And there's some special videos for you. And then the big $15 a month gets you the newsletter, gets you the inside scoop videos. We're going to go on the ghost hunting and stuff like that. So it's going to be very limited. If you're a member and you come in and you watch some of those videos that we're doing live from ghost hunts and different events and things that we're doing, it's going to be not open to the public at all. So there you go. Maybe afterwards, it's going to be members only, and maybe, next season you'll be able to see it if you're not a full member. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you're not a member and you would like to be a member, helps this show, gives you some extra stuff, makes it kind of fun. And so I appreciate all the support that you give. And if you just want to donate to the show, there's a little $ button down at the bottom under the chat. Just click on that. You can throw some money in. Now, I sound like a televangelist asking for money. Glory! God will richly bless you if you will put money in the offering plate. I'm not. God knows I don't want to be that way. I'm just saying, if you like this show and you got a few extra, toss it this way and help us support it. It's tax deductible, I think. But I'm not going to give you any forms that prove it. So I've tried being a member on here, but I think I have to actually use my computer. Do you? You should be able to access through your phone by being a member. Because I know you can buy a membership via your phone. So you should be able to access everything via phone. You might be thinking of the very early days when the chat room still wasn't working. That first few days that we tried, it's working now. We got it working the last few live coffee shows that we did. Just a lousy cup of coffee. It's the name of the show. It's a morning show. So give it a try tomorrow, Steph, and see if it works. Scott Allen set his up through his phone. So there you go. It's not guilting you or anything. It's just saying if you want to try it, it might be that you just weren't getting the chat room because nobody was at the beginning. And I had to complain to YouTube and ask for help. And that's like, I don't know. That's like trying to find the city of El Dorado without a map. Trying to get any kind of technical help from Facebook or YouTube. I'm not sure why, Steph. Give it another try and find out what's going on. Let's see. The other night I didn't have a membership. I haven't done a members only show for about a week. So give it a shot. Try going to youtube.com on your browser, Safari or Chrome on your phone. There you go. Yeah, everybody will help you out here if you want to be a member. If you don't, that's okay too. Nobody's going to hurt my feelings. I'm just glad you're here. The show's free. So Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The show's always open to anybody who wants to be here. All you're getting a membership for is to either throw a couple of bucks toward the show or to get some of the extra perks that we're doing. So there you go. That's it. Hey, Morgan Snow. Good to see you. Yeah, there's a permission, says Matt. Yeah, all of that stuff. Just read that stuff if you're interested. So, I had a lot of things going through my mind to talk about this morning. Something that's always on my mind, and you tell me what you think of this. Give me some feedback right away, instant feedback on this. I do an awful lot of talking about religion and about biblical stuff because that's my background, Judeo-Christianity. And I've done an awful lot of study into saying this is why stuff in the Bible looks like it's got holes in it. Looks like there's gaps. Looks like there is historical editing, which then lends credence to the skepticism of the Messiah, the messianic aspect of Jesus. So now, bear with me on this. And because that's the way I was raised. Jesus was the Son of God. But as we found in a couple of episodes of things that we've done over the last few months, expanding on some of the things we did when looking at early Christianity in the early centuries, is that the Son of God aspect, the salvific nature, the Savior nature of Jesus, the atoning for sins, Well, none of the resurrection, none of that was actually part of the original Christian movement in the first century after the time of Christ. Those are all things that have earmarks of having been added in later. So what does that do? If you grew up with a faith that says, wait a minute, Scotty, what are you talking about? I was taught that Jesus was the Son of God, that he died for my sins, that he rose again on the third day, that this is a miraculous event. You can't explain it with science. History might be on the wrong side of that issue. So what do you do when you start hearing that stuff? And you say, hey, Morgan, I'll tell her, by the way, I just saw that. Tell Raini that I got the journal yesterday. Oh, my daughter, fantastic. I'm glad she likes it. And Steph's cutting veggies for venison stew. Venison stew, nice. So this is Scott Allen. I like these topics too. And I think about it. And, there was something that was, it's funny. I was washing dishes. Look how clean my fingernails are from scrubbing pots and pans for an hour this morning. So I'm doing dishes this morning. And it sounds funny. It's like a pun because I had the song, Are You Washed in the Blood of the Lamb? Because I'm washing dishes. And that's not why it popped in my head. But there was something that came into my head, very fanciful, weird side of things was, remember we've asked the question before, where would you go if you could step back in time? If you could go back in time, what if you went back in time and you got stuck there? How would you live your life? And I've seen that in several science fiction shows, mostly associated with like Star Trek, stuck in the past. What would you do and of course, it's not a real question because it's not a real issue. We don't get up in the morning and go, I wonder where I'll time travel today. And what do I have to do to make sure my equipment doesn't get me stuck there? It's not a real question. It's a science fiction question. It's a fantasy question. So what if you could go back? Think of any time you'd want to go back and experience and see. What if you went back there, take it a step further, and you got stuck there? You had to figure out how to live your life there, knowing what you know about the future. And when I'm doing dishes, and people are sleeping, so I don't have the TV going. I don't have the stereo booming. It's too early in the day. I don't want to wake everybody up. So I'm usually humming, or I'm thinking about stuff, or thinking about stories, thinking about things I got to do, thinking about church work, thinking about Jesus, thinking about what I teach versus what I was taught. And that topic came up in my head. Hey, Teresa, what if you could, the old question that we hear all the time, what if you could time travel and go back to somewhere? Where would you go? That's the question we always ask. I was thinking and musing over washing pots and pans this morning. What if I could do that? And let's take that little fantasy thing that's not a real question because it doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. We could do it in our heads, maybe. Maybe there is something about astral travel where you could, out-of-body travel, where you could time travel. But let's leave that and push that over here for a second. Let's say you could actually physically go back in time to experience this place. You go, oh, I'd love to go back and do this. I'd love to go back. I've said many times, I'd love to go back and ride a horse up to the front door of Monticello in Virginia, Charlottesville, and visit Thomas Jefferson when he was post-presidency and talk to him and have tea with him and have a little backpack full of stuff that I'd show. Here's some of the stuff I want to show you. What if I could do that? But then expanding on the fantasy question, what would you do if you got stuck there and you couldn't return? And I've seen several kinds of the Bible, along with holy books, are nothing more than books of ancient law and fairy tales. Beth, I think you're right to an extent. Just to segue off on that for a second, or rabbit trail. That's the way we look at those books. It's mythology from a religion. That's what has overwhelmed my study since I was deep in the faith and left that faith That's what's overwhelmed my study. But what if we're wrong? What if those books are? We look at those things, but that's the question. Maybe we'll hit that in a little bit here. Let me get back to this time travel thing. So here I am. I'm washing dishes this morning and scrubbing pots and pans in the quiet in my own mind, and I've got this sci-fi stuff going through my head. What if I got stuck somewhere? Yeah, I was thinking of Audrey, you would know this, and any Star Trek fans. Does the name Edith Keeler ring a bell to anyone? Guardian of Forever, does that ring a bell? If you're a Star Trek fan, Edith Keeler, the Guardian of Forever. Do you remember the old original Star Trek episode where Bones, Dr. McCoy, gets accidentally injected with something that makes him go off the deep end? And there's some anomalies going on this planet that they're covering. They go down there, and there's this big, it looks like a big stone or marble, odd-shaped ring, like a gateway. And there's nothing on the other side. You can just walk through it, and there's nothing there. But then it does its thing, and it comes alive, and you could visit anywhere in the past. And the voice says, I am the guardian of forever. And Audrey, I got to ask you, or anybody that watches Star Trek Discovery, did you see that episode that hinted back at that? Just curious. I can't give it away if you haven't seen it. So Bones jumps through and he ends up in 1920s New York, Depression era. And Spock and McCoy and Kirk have to go after him. And Russ just wrote me and said he's seen all of Discovery. So Russ, he's the head of Odyssey Radio. Teresa saw it. The original episode I'm talking about, the Kirk and Spock episode, original series episode. I've got a bunch of Trek trading cards, Roger. I don't have the quintessential set, though. Oh, yeah, Russ. Russ is listening. I did, too. He typed to me, so he's not giving away anything over here. He sent me a private message. That was... I wasn't prepared for that. You finally got to a point where you're going, wait, hold it. And then it hits you. And so in that episode, what happened? Remember Edith Keeler? She was the woman who ran the soup kitchen that Kirk, of course, falls in love with. And in the original episode, way back in the 60s, it was becoming clearer that what she learns about the future from Kirk destroys their future. And that they found Spock in doing his research and trying to figure out how to get back from the past, finds that there's two different futures for her that he sees from that moment. One was that she dies in a car accident that same year. The other was that she lives and brings her message of peace and unity and so on and so forth. And she goes to the UN. She makes a whole world thing. And what ends up happening is that the Federation is never started. So there is no starship. There is no anything. And so Kinsey's watching now. If you can say hi to her. Hey, Kinsey, how are you doing? Are you up and around? Are you bugging mom and dad? Make them do stuff? Good to see you, Kinsey. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're doing well. And so Star Trek, what happens? Kirk falls in love with this woman, and it's becoming clearer and clearer that if their own future, if their timeline is to be normalized and get back to where it was supposed to be, Edith Keeler has to die in this car wreck, or this car getting hit by a car. And there's a scene where they finally find Bones. He's finally come to his senses. He's at the soup kitchen. And he's like somebody that's been strung out on heroin for a month. and he's coming back. He's coming back down. He's gone through his withdrawal from accidentally injecting himself with this drug and getting to where he is. He doesn't even know where he is. How am I in 1920s Earth? And here's Kirk and Spock, and there's this big joyful reunion. Bones, and they're hugging each other. And Edith is on the other side of the street, and she sees this. She doesn't say anything, but she looks at it like, "What's going on?" And she starts crossing the street, and you see in the background the headlights of the truck coming, and she's wondering what's going on. And of course, the truck's going to run her over. And what does Kirk have to do? He starts to run to protect her, and Spock is like, "Jim, like, you can't do this. She has to die. You're going to change the future if she doesn't die by this." And he just yells out to Jim, and Kirk stops. He hesitates. And then Bones tries to run out to save her, and Kirk has to turn and stop him from saving her. He holds him back, and she gets run over by the truck and killed. Boom. Like that. Everything's set back to normal. And of course, he's grieving over this. And now that episode, I haven't done it justice, by the way I've talked about it, but that episode was written by Harlan Ellison, a science fiction novelist, very well known. And that episode also won Star Trek an Emmy. If you've never seen it, it's called The City on the Edge of Forever. Go look it up on Netflix or YouTube, wherever you can find it. Watch the original episode of Star Trek, The City on the Edge of Forever. And it's Joan Collins, a very young Joan Collins, plays Edith Keeler. And, oops, I keep hitting the wrong button here. And you'll see that. But that comes to play again in Star Trek Discovery. So, all of that to say, if you could go back in time, that's one of the things that hit my mind. Back to that original hypothetical, fanciful question. If you could go back in time, where would you go? And if you were stuck there, apparently in this episode, it's like Kirk and Spock were stuck there for several weeks. And there's other things, I've seen where some great episodes of Next Generation, things like that. What if you were stuck in the past? What would you do? I've often thought, if I rode up to Thomas Jefferson's house and talked with him, what would I do with what I know of the future? What would I do for a living? How would I make my way? What if I was alone? I had no money. The clothes on my back. What would I do to make my way? I was thinking this morning, it's because I was washing dishes. That song's going through my head. Are you washed in the blood? In the soul-saving blood of the Lamb. And I don't remember all the words of that. It's an old hymn. And other songs were coming to my mind. This is why I started talking the religion. Other songs, like from Psalm 52, white as snow, white as snow. Though my sin, though my... Lord, I know. Kevin Olson, you might remember this, said, I'm free and forgiven by the power of your blood. And so on and so forth. It's all in the blood. It's the washing of the blood of the Lamb. I can be, and this is the way I know I can be, white as snow. And so these songs are going through my head because I'm just humming as I'm cleaning. I'm thinking, why are these songs in my head? Because I've kind of stepped out of that faith story because of my studies. And then I'm also thinking, what would I do if I was back in the past? I thought I could become a minister. I'd set up a church. I'd be an itinerant minister. Going to a little town, like I remember watching Hell on Wheels came to my head. And, setting up the church in the city and building the church and people donating and preaching. And I thought I'd bring something different than was being offered in that time. A way of thinking, a way of approaching the Gospels, a way of approaching biblical text. Would I be run out on a rail, tarred and feathered, for teaching something different? Hey, Siani, how you doing? Carla, good to see you too. So, yeah, I could be the Nostradamus in the Federalist era. Wouldn't that be interesting? So I also thought, with what I know about art, I could be a muralist. I could be an advertiser. I could paint murals on the sides of buildings for their companies. I could introduce printing. I know how to do, that printing that you do? I know how to do that better. Let's hear. And expand on it and be a publisher, be something. I could do something like that. I can be a newspaper publisher, but you gotta have the equipment. You gotta have the money to do that even back then. So, yeah, be an inventor, Teresa. So, Beth, that's interesting. It's not meant to be shady. You ask why are religious songs lyrics so shady, washed in the blood? I think it's talking about the shed blood was the remission of sins, and that's a theological. Let's just call it a theological theory, or the theorem, or the thing in theology is that it was the shed blood. It was what was there before? Jesus was supposed to shed his blood and die and resurrect. All through the Old Testament times, it was you had to bring a lamb to the temple once a year, slit its throat, and it was the shed blood because the life was in the blood. And it was meant to be an atonement. But I thought, why is God a bloody God? Why did he demand that blood be shed? That's not the same God, it seems, that we want to worship nowadays. It doesn't fit into an evolved message. Why would you have to kill something to make atonement? I remember when I used to be in ministry, people would say, well, I don't need to accept Jesus into my heart. It's all my good deeds. If I do enough good deeds, I'll get to heaven. It's like the old ancient Egyptian weighing out the ka and the ba and all of this. And was your heart heavier than the feather? And so on. And that comes from ancient times even then. And it's so, well, hopefully people say, hopefully I'll go to heaven because my good works. Yeah, I've done bad things, but hopefully my good works will be outweighed and God will see I'm a pretty good guy. And my answer to that used to be, well, if we could work our way to heaven by our good works, if we could earn it that way, why did Jesus have to die on the cross? Why was there shed blood for sins? If I could earn my way to heaven, then the salvific nature of the whole crucifixion story and resurrection is nonsense. If I could earn eternal life through another venue, another way, why'd Jesus have to die? That's the question that would come into my mind. And I thought, and that's of course how we preached it, to say, look, not being nasty, not being hell and fire and brimstone, but the Bible says we have a sin nature and that it took the Son of God to wipe that out. So that's the whole thing with the blood. Paint a chapel, Scotty. Yeah, I could do that. A nurse chapel. I just staying in my Star Trek mode. Sorry about that, Teresa. Beth says, look how gods have come and gone through history. Why believe in the Abrahamic God at all? That's a big question. That is the biggest question. What makes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob the only God? As a matter of fact, and we went through this, Beth and others, when we were talking about this a year ago, is that this whole idea of, like in the Ten Commandments, where it says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. It's not just lightly using the reference of other gods. It's in the language implicitly says, there are other gods, but you will have none of those. You will not worship any of those gods above me, because I am the God. And so it's saying, push the other gods aside. This is who I am. You worship me. So the question came, when you worship the God of Judaism or Christianity, are there gods of other religions? You're just worshiping the God, if gods exist at all. And we do know, and Beth, I'm not mocking anything you said or trying to say anything against what you're saying or step on any toes, but I think I think that we all know to a certain extent that there's something very spiritual that goes on in the universe. It ain't all just what science can prove. There are some veils we can't pierce. There are spiritual issues in the universe. We can't prove some of them. It's like ghosts. Can you prove a ghost exists? Yeah, if somebody wants to pay attention. Can you by just talking to somebody casually about it? No. Experience, is that just anecdotal to being able to prove something? If you can't contain a ghost somehow and put it in the lab and go through the scientific method, does it exist? Yeah, it still exists. So Matt says blood was important in many of the world's religions, not just the Abrahamic ones. Blood was what separated animal from plant. Yeah, that's true. Mostly just the color, Matt. Yeah, because plants bleed other stuff. Cut apart an aloe vera plant and use it for medicine and see what you got. The lifeblood of that plant. So, where was I in? I was kind of talking to Beth, but to everybody. It seems to me that all these other gods that are out there, we talked about this in great detail in some of the series, that do they really exist? I have, is anybody out there a pagan? I've got a good friend who is a pagan high priest. Pretty intense dude when he wants to be. Some of you know who he is. Travis Thorpe. You've seen him when Rocky and I were doing shows together. We talked to Travis, and he makes an occasional appearance. Carla says, paranormal to me is proven by the fact energy cannot be destroyed. And we're biochemical wonders. So when the meat suit is gone, the spirit, the energy goes on. Yeah. I believe that. What do you do when that energy still has personality? When that energy goes from us, does it retain who we are? I know I'm going all over the place, but this is not set forth an agenda on this topic for today. We're just talking about it based on some things that Beth said and other people said. Yeah, we can't prove the existence or non-existence of God or gods. We can say science would prove to us that there's something with intelligent design behind it. Who was the creator or the originator? That's a good question. Is that God? Remember when we were talking about the jinn and the fellow whose experience I was talking about? He said when he was speaking with this jinn, he asked the obvious questions about God. And he said, God is not the originator. Oh. So there's an originator or a creator. Then there's the God that we worship. Then there are other gods. Then there are demigods. And there are all this stuff came out, this jumble of things. You have to filter this through the ancient human's brain capacity. Exactly. Ancient humanity, if they saw an airplane, it was a god. Did any of them see an airplane? Were there time slips? That's an interesting topic, too. You talk about that medieval painting, that artwork, that looks like a dogfight going on in the skies above Germany, was it? I'd have to look that up again. But there is a Paul Bradford, and I were talking about that once. Paul Bradford from... he was the English dude on Ghost Hunters International, if you remember that show. With Irish. Barry Fitzgerald was the head of that, and Chris Williams from Ghost Hunters, and you had, who else was on that? I can't remember her name, the other woman on that. And then you had Brad as well. And he was talking about that, the dogfight over Germany. You can look that up. Go look it up on Google and you'll get an idea. Steph wants to be worshipped as a goddess. Aren't you already? Jeez, what else do you want? Paint yourself blue and get a couple of other arms. You're perfect fit. So, yeah, we could worship you as a goddess. You can be the goddess of the week, Steph. And since my goddess isn't here, you can be the goddess for today. And she's upstairs, still sleeping, or she just has not managed to get up. Everybody's been a little under the weather this week, so kind of stomach stuff going on and stuff like that. I was really out of it the other night, Friday, when we did this show live, Intrepid Radio. I was out of it. I wasn't sure I could even do the show, and I came on. Raini started the show, and I warmed up through the show. She made me that little concoction of electrolytes and stuff like that. So, hey, Lucky Stone, good to see you. And Joyce, good to see you as well. Creation doesn't care what the gods think. Hermetics will help balance us toward good if we work for it, says Joyce. Well, who is then why would Hermetics, if there's no God that governs it, and this is the question I asked Joyce. So I saw somebody else today say something like, I was just passing it in my timeline on Facebook. Somebody had asked the question, if there's no God, then do we need marriage anymore? What is it other than God that makes us want to get married or legalize it that way? Just a legal document? So without answering that question, that's not where I'm going. It made me think in my mind, if there is no God that dictates stuff to us, what makes things right and wrong? Good or bad? Is it just our capacity as human beings to have morality? Then we always have the question, well, whose morality? What if one moral issue says you shouldn't abort babies? What if the other one says you can? And they're both moral people. They just have a different viewpoint on that. Then you apply science. Well, what if the science is controversial? So how do you come to moral questions? What is the moral dictate? What sets the moral compass? If the moral compass is different for everybody else, if there is no absolute and everything is, what's the word for it? That we all, truth is in the eye of the beholder. Well, if truth is relative, where are there any absolutes by which we create morality? Are there truths, or do we just have to bow down and accept somebody else's truth if we see the truth differently? So there's the good question. Audrey's going out to grab some breakfast and kick some sand around. Wishing you all a beautiful Sunday. Hey, isn't it only like, what time is it there, Audrey? It's only 8 in the morning. You're going to go to the beach at 8 in the morning? Have fun. Have a taco or two. Morality is doing what's best for the majority. And in doing that, you and everyone thrives. When are a moral animal or we wouldn't be here? We're moral animals or we wouldn't be there. I agree with you, Beth. Morality is what the majority dictates. So there is no absolute. There is just the majority that rules on what will be the absolute. And that's where my questions come in. Is if there's no absolute, what happens when the next regime comes along and says, we're going to change the morality? So what if the majority is mean? That's kind of the question I just asked, Bookworm. Kevin Miller. Everyone except the minority. Yeah, what if the majority are mean people and they vote something in? It's like, look at politics. If you have one side that believes, say, the new Green Deal has been proposed, and you got the other side which goes, no, that's stupid. So what if the new Green Deal gets voted in by that side? And the other side, the minority that didn't win that vote, Says that's bad. Well, then you have to live. There's the new morality until the next new morality comes along. So there's no absolute. So this is the question I have, Beth, and anybody who thinks about these things. Well, we all know that through witnessing wars. Yeah, we do. But are some wars justifiable? Are some wars good? Isn't that when you have one society whose sense of morality is here, and the other society whose sense of morality is in a different place, and they conflict with each other, and they go to war? Then it's whoever wins that war usually dictates for both sides then what the morality is going to be. Is that the way it's supposed to be? Or is there an absolute we're supposed to strive for? How do we know? Now, we all know in our hearts what's good. I'm going to strive to do good and be better. But what is the goal of that? Why do we do that? Just to be good. I'm simplifying the terms here. We all want to be good. We all want to do the right things. Well, who gauges what is right and what is wrong? If there is no arbiter, the arbiter is the majority. I think there has to be something more than that. Something that put that into place. Like we're talking, we're in the midst of this series on holy language. What was the holy language? Who put that into place? Why does it work? Why does it work mathematically? Is that just a key to the universe? Those are the questions that I think about with this. Having a God is a way of keeping people good. Yeah? Having a God is a way to control masses, too. I get that. I do understand that, Siani. It's a way to show what's right and wrong. There's the moral side of that. Yes. So my wife's grandmother keeps telling my wife, you know what your husband should do? He should start a church. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what I'd teach, to be honest. My church would be very different. It would be non-denominational. It would be, do I use the Bible? Do I teach out of other religions? What do you do? What do you teach? Universalist church, which I always looked at universalist churches as being churches with no mooring. There's nothing. They hitch their moors. They moor to nothing, kind of floating out there. Anything goes. Oh, I like that idea. Let's pull that one in. So what's the moral absolute? Or take moral out of it. What's the universal absolute? Are there any? Maybe the new absolutism is that there are no absolutes. Do you believe that there are absolutes? Are there absolutes in the universe? Is there an absolute right and wrong? Is there an absolute morality? Is there an absolute spirituality? An absolute religion? Matt says the ghost soldiers of World War II's job was to confuse the enemy into thinking they were outnumbered without actually being real troops. Yeah, there's that. That question came into my mind as I was washing pots and pans early in the wee hours this morning. Too, it crossed my mind, this whole alien thing. Because I saw that article and I posted it on my Facebook about that long cylindrical cigar-shaped thing and what one Harvard scientist is saying about it. And so I thought, what if there is life out there? Is there life out there? And we say no because there's no possible way scientifically that they could travel and visit us. Are there aliens that have visited us? Being the question. I'm saying, what if there's ways that they travel that we don't know about? It's the same thing with God and morality. What if there's morality or something spiritual or a God out there that we just don't know about? We can only go so far. We're finite in our ascertaining what is the truth. Is there truth? Is there such a thing as truth? Spock said in the old Star Trek, is there in truth no beauty? So what's truth? There is proof that aliens have visited us, Carla says. And I agree with you, but that's like trying to prove to people that ghosts exist. It's almost impossible to prove. People say, well, there's no evidence. Yeah, there's plenty of evidence. It's whether or not you want to accept the evidence. And I'm sorry, I'm going to throw this in here. You may not like this. It's like the last election. The whole answer I get from the left is, well, prove it. You can't prove there's no evidence. Yeah, there's plenty of evidence. It's whether or not you want to accept that evidence. Look at the anomalies and so on. This is how ghosts, aliens, God, it all follows the same pattern. Science will say, well, you can't prove to me. There's no evidence of a God. I think the evidence is all around us. But it's not evidence that can be scientifically picked apart. It's evidence that can be, by skeptics in scientific mind, be poo-pooed because it doesn't follow the scientific method. I think that's what you have with the election. I think there was a shitload of fraud in the election. And it's been proven over and over again by all the anomalies. But can you prove it? We don't know if it can be proven in a court of law. It's never been allowed to be presented in a court of law. So what happens with that information then? What do you do with information? Let's get away from the election. Leave that alone. What if that's truth that we're denying because we don't want to accept it? I would ask the same question about science and skepticism. What if God is a truth that we know exists, we just don't want to accept it? We always used to say an atheist is not somebody who says so much there's no God. They're one that says no God for me. And God knows it. So we used to mock atheists that way when I was in ministry. I had somebody tell me once, well, I'm an atheist. I said, well, God loves you atheists too. What do you do with the scientific skeptical mind that wants to turn its back and say there's no such thing as aliens? And I say, you're an idiot. No, we can't walk an alien into the lab, so to speak, into a controlled setting and run the scientific methodology to prove he exists. But we can look at the night sky, the starry sky. I talked about the Hubble and the galaxies. You look at a piece of the sky that's like your pinky fingernail when you hold it up. And they found 10,000 plus galaxies in that little tiny piece of the night sky. What if you expanded that exponentially to cover the whole sky? How many galaxies are out there? Billions. Those galaxies, what do they consisted of? Billions of stars. How many of each one of those billions of galaxies, with billions of stars in each galaxy, has a sun like ours, or a star like ours, that has planets revolving around it that could sustain life? What if it's 1 in a billion? 1 in a billion. What if that was the ratio? And you've got multiple billions upon billions of galaxies, which house billions upon billions upon billions of stars and solar systems. What's the likelihood? Well, because we don't have proof that anybody exists out there, it doesn't exist. That's the most nonsensical reasoning I've ever heard. The search continues. I love cosmology too, Beth. Love it. What do you do with it? You keep looking. You keep looking for the truth. Beth is spot on. That's what we do as human beings. We keep looking. Why do you think I push and talk about the fun side of it? I talk about adventure and doing adventurous things, casting off from the safe harbor, exploring, dreaming, discovering. Why do we talk about that? It's 20 years from now. You're going to regret not having done that. You regret more of the things you didn't do than the ones you did. What's that part of? What I'm talking about when I'm talking about adventure? I'm talking about expanding our consciousness, expanding what we know, looking deeper. Sometimes we find things that we believe. When you dig deep enough, you'll find, oh, I was wrong. My assumptions were wrong. That's what science does too, says Beth. Keeps looking. Yeah, we keep looking. I think the true scientist is somebody that cannot absolutely say, this is not so, in these realms of ghosts or the paranormal or even God. They can't say it's not so. All they can say is, I have not been able to prove it sufficiently enough for me. And if you've got that kind of mind, I would think God would accommodate that kind of mind. Say, okay, here's what I'm going to do for you. Throw you a bone. It's like Michael Shermer. Remember him, Michael Shermer, the titular head of the skeptical movement out there for decades. And he was he's a good man. I love his books. Why Do Good People Believe Weird Things and things like that. He's a great thinker, great critical thinker, great scientific thinker, skeptical thinker. Yet he, a couple of years ago, after all this denying that these other things exist, he had an experience of his own that he wrote about, where he believed his father communicated to him through playing it was an old song or something on the radio. And there were things that we look at when you're believers in this stuff. You go, that's a sign. And he got these signs over and over again. And he was getting married. And he said, he came out and he said that he had this experience and in essence was admitting this. Now, I don't know how that's changed him in the long run. But you had people that supported Michael Shermer. They went, no, he can't. That's not what he's saying. They have to try to explain it away. If you have proof of something or evidence of something that happens, even though you can't prove it by the scientific method, why would you want to deny it other than to just maintain your position? I have to maintain my position that there's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as a God. And it doesn't matter what evidence you're going to send me unless God cracks open the sky and uses his butt cheek as a mouth and says, you must believe in me. And I said, unless God does that, I'm not going to believe he exists. I mean, there's this nonsensical factor to scientific skepticism. There is no, Carl Sagan once said, and I've brought this up before, and I'm going to paraphrase this. It was in his book, The Demon Haunted World, Carl Sagan's. And he said, when I was a child, he says, my parents instilled in me two very important things. One was the need for the scientific method, and the second was to never lose my sense of wonder about the universe. And does a sense of wonder accept that there are things outside what the scientific method can prove? Roger says, so many shows have always been trying to show us we're trapped in an ant farm and being told lies. Even the recent show, The Orville, showed a plant-sized ship with all the inhabitants unaware of it. Yeah, I remember that one. Matt Finn says, the problem in every control structure, which science has become a part of, is corruption of the data. Corruption on humankind is the true evil, tainted every institution we have. I agree with you. This is why, and I take it back to like the election stuff. No, that's not true. That didn't happen. There's nothing like that could happen. You know who's saying that? The people who don't want it to be different. They don't want to accept that that might have happened because it changes their paradigm. They have to change their point of view to accept that something like that could happen. Same with ghosts, aliens, God, religion, anything. If there's something you don't want to believe because you don't think it's so, no proof is going to matter to you. And you're going to be able to talk your way around any talking point. Proof. It's about discovery, says Beth. That's true. Science isn't about absolutes. It's about discovery. You're right, Beth. But most scientists will act as if they are absolutes. Now, there are some absolutes. You know, we know what the composition of oxygen is. Is that going to change with more scientific? Oh, it's not really made of that stuff. It's made of something else. Maybe something else we'll discover. But that's why you always look. That's why the discussion, I had a discussion with my own daughter about global warming the other day. Well, science says this. You're just a science denier, Dad, if you don't. But I said, but do we have all the science on that? I said, there's conflicting science. How can there be scientific minds that conflict on an issue if they're both using science to draw their conclusions? It's because they're looking at it through different lenses. Religion is demanding. Well, religion is, all the word is, just look at the definition of the word religion. It's practice. It's a habit. It's the things you do. That's religion is what we do to manifest our spiritual belief. I religiously wash my feet, when I take a shower. Is that spiritual? No. Religion is just a habit of doing things, the way we do things, the rituals we incorporate. So I'm not saying, now, none of this am I saying none of this exists. You know as well as I do that there are things out there we can't explain. We know that there's stuff. I have come to that point. This is why I say I'm a staunchly committed agnostic, because I don't know everything. If I knew everything, there'd be no discovery left to have to figure out. But then why, and this is where I ask the question in my old evangelical faith, why, if there is so much that we cannot prove, does my old faith hinge my eternal destiny on finite amounts of information? I'm being told, I didn't have, God never walked into my office and said, hey, can I have a seat? I want to talk to you about this. Here's the proof. Here's why you should believe. No, I'm being told by other people, servants of his, quote unquote, that tell me that this is what God expects of me. God expects me to believe by faith. Yet, faith by definition means it requires no proof. But blessed are those who believe by faith. I want a little bit more than that. I want to know what I believe. These things are written that you may know what you believe, says the book of John. Or is it 1 John? Same author. So that you may know what you believe. Okay, but it's still all written within a faith paradigm. So give me something from outside the faith paradigm, looking back into the box, that will prove to me that the object of my faith is something that I can trust. Then I'll put my faith in it. Well, then it's not really faith, is it? Because you never manifested the kind of being. I'm not sure what you're getting at there, Teresa. Precisely say. So, it's not that I don't believe. I have my core beliefs that are there. I believe that there is an originator, a God who hears me. What also went through my mind this morning, see, my mind goes all over the place when I'm washing dishes, was that series we were talking about when we say you can look historically, like 4000 BCE. You start looking at God wasn't a personal God. God was the thunder, the sky, the stars. That was the gods. By the next millennium, the third millennium BCE, God took on kind of an authority, because you had to have this authority between the third and the second millenniums BCE. For the king, this is why they equated kings with gods in pharaonic Egypt and different monarchies around the world. The king was like the god. So God had authority, and you had to obey that authority. Then it wasn't until really the first millennium BCE, going into the time of Jesus, that God became a personal God. God became the Abba, Father in the Hebrew. God became the God of like the song that says, Jesus, he meets you where you are. Sung by a modern, very emotional stuff. If that is your faith, you sing a song like, Jesus meets me where I am. That's the personal God that God has evolved into. Now, in theology, we accommodate that by we used to call it Stair-Step Dispensationalism. So the further you get away from creation, the more we get to understand God. You take another step out, we get a little more understanding about it. Another step out, a more personal God, and so on. And this is how God became like the Father. We used to say, there was a book by Philip Yancey, a very devotional Christian writer. But he said God is a lot like a parent, in that when he created his kids, his creation, and gave them free will and the ability to say no to him, he created something that he had never created before. And God had to learn how to deal with his creation. That's one explanation I saw from a devotional point of view. So God is not absolute. God's mind can be changed. I always bring up that example where it says, and God had his mind changed by Moses. It says, and God repented or turned his back on the evil he was going to do to Israel because Moses interceded and said, you can't do this, God. This would go against your word and your promise. And it says, and so God changed his mind. God repented because Moses stepped in and interceded. Does that mean God could fly off the handle and do something stupid? Well, according to that passage, it did. So what do you do with that kind of information in a faith setting? Teresa says, in my case, I have a feeling there's a great spirit and I connect when I concentrate. So for me, there's a universal guide. I can see that, Teresa. That's very close to the way I think without formalizing it. Matt said something because Beth is reacting. Gravity can be reproduced. It's the rate at which our planet is spinning on its axis and the speed of the orbit. Matt must have said something about gravity. Thousands of years in, and we still don't know what gravity is. Yeah, we can only observe it. That's proof of concept. Yes. Steph says, I can't wait till they prove that there are some kinds of unknown species that all these people saw in the Loch Ness or other lakes and such. You know, I posted another article on my Facebook this morning from Matt Moneymaker. You remember him? He's a big Bigfoot guy. And he was on the show Finding Bigfoot, which, by the way, people mock and say, well, they never found Bigfoot on the show. Well, Finding Bigfoot was about researching claims. It wasn't about necessarily being able to find Bigfoot. I enjoyed that show a lot. I was sad when it went off the air, but a couple of years ago. But Matt Moneymaker showed some photos in the snow. And he says, this definitively proves that there was something 9 foot tall. You couldn't fake the kinds of footprints in snowbanks and drifts with the heel drag and the toe drag and things like that, and the spacing in between and the number of footprints. It cannot be reproduced. He said it's definitive proof that something that tall did that. Hello?
Mom's not skipping.
Mom's not skipping?
Yeah.
Is she coming down?
She already is down.
Is she coming in?
I don't know.
Well, thank you, my baby. How are you this morning?
Bubbles.
Bubbles. She's Bubbles. She knows you're listening. That's Ellery. So, Beth said the land of puppets and weed. Poppies and weed. Poppies! Poppies! Yeah. I know what you're talking about. So, Expedition Bigfoot is on tonight. I got to see what that one is. Who walked in the room?
A monster.
But my lovely wife. Let's make some room. Hey, beautiful. So you have your robe on too.
Yes, I do.
This is what she looks like. This is the hideous hag my wife is in the morning.
Totally.
Wow. I just go, wow. Oh, wow.
I can't open my eyes.
Wow.
It's too bright.
You're awesome.
Good morning.
Hi, baby.
I have to read these books.
Okay, you go read them. This little girl, the 6-year-old in kindergarten, she's sounding out all her words. She was reading to us last night. It's very slow, but she's doing a fantastic job.
I need that seat.
When are you going to read
Which
everybody
seed?
a book?
This one.
She wants to read everybody.
You want to read somebody a book? Just for a couple of minutes, okay?
All of them.
No,
No.
not all of them, because we got other things we're going to talk about here.
You guys want to be here
Here's a
until
little
tomorrow, right?
Here's a little reading interlude for you folks. Here, what's the name of the book? Can you read? Let's see.
I can be a farm vet.
That's right. Here, turn it around so they see the cover. I can be a farm vet. All right, there you go. Okay, read us 2 pages. Okay.
No.
Good morning, Rainy, says Beth.
Good morning. My eyes don't work well enough to see it.
Her eyes aren't open yet.
Good morning.
You're stunning.
Barbie vet.
Thanks.
Barbie. What letter is that?
V.
V. What's the next one?
I.
And then what's the next one?
S.
So what's that word? Sound it out.
Vet.
Visit.
Visit.
Visits. See? That's what she's doing.
Her
Be courteous.
friend Emma. Emma is a farm vet.
Here, show them the page. See? There, that's what she just read to you. Now, baby, we're not going to go much longer because it takes a little too long for radio. But there you go. She's learning. So I'm going to put you down, all right? And I'm going to hang with Mom. We're going to talk to some people for a little bit.
I get to read 2 pages.
Okay, one more page. Such a literalist. Okay, one more page. What's the next page say?
Barbie.
Okay, that you can recognize by sight, which is a way to read. You start recognizing what words look like. Okay, what's that word letter?
I forgot.
W.
W.
What's it so W sound like?
What?
That's right. Whoa. Wow.
Want.
Wow.
Want to be a farm vet too.
That's right. Outstanding. Yay. Good job. Okay, I'm going to send you out in the other room with your books. Yeah, we're done.
No.
That was- Yes. Bye.
No.
There's your other books.
No. Go practice reading that one so you can read it really good when I come out there.
Woohoo, large animal veterinary. She said, I want to go see those guys. Oh, was that Kinsey who said that, Roger? So,
Mommy does need coffee.
why don't you? I can go make you coffee.
No,
I will serve you coffee with my own hand.
I will go make my own coffee because my brain's not functioning enough to talk.
Okay.
I just
I was going to say, I'll leave you in front of the mic and the camera, and I'll go make you coffee
No,
and deliver it.
I'll make my own. Otherwise,
good
I'll
morning.
just sit here. I'm tired. I'm so
Mm.
tired.
She's so tired. So tired.
I can't keep my eyes open.
You will when you have your decaffeinated coffee.
I think just that having the coffee.
It's
sets that mold.
psychological.
Totally.
It's like religion. Coffee is an opiate of the masses.
Pretty much.
Talking about weed and poppies, Beth. Coffee. Rainey just said, weed. So from Carly says, good morning, Rainey. So I got so much junk down here below my feet. Here. This is one of my Christmas presents. I don't know who got this for me. I think probably one of my kids. Sharpies. Spins around, you know. So you can go, oh, Sharpies. They've been begging me to open this, my little girls. And I'm like, no, I'm going to save that for a bit. So that's my present. I'm not going to open that. I want to save it. I want it to still spin. I want to do the fun stuff. Well, they steal all my black Sharpies, which I use for illustration. And so they got me this. But now they want to open it. Go figure. That's down below my feet now again at my desk. So put that there. All right. So, yeah, nice Sharpies, Carla. So, by the way, just because I notice in the camera, I'm wearing my robe still. For those of you who know I've got the heart issues, there's the thing I usually charge $0.25 for to see. That's it goes all the way up to there. That's the top of the scar, all the way down there, and it's got all this discoloring around. That's the scar from almost 4 years ago now. I had that cut open. And I can run my fingers over my sternum, and I can still feel it's like zip ties or something they used to get your sternum back together. I can feel them in there. So that's it. That's the source point of all the junk I have that's going on. So anyway, Bubbles could do a book read video for Kinsey. Hey, that'd be fun. Could read together. I think that'd be fun. Get them on Zoom together. Or get them on a chat together. Rips open shirt for the audience. Boom. My man boobs. See, that's what I got. Used to be muscle. So let's do my Superman. I need a tie fluttering in the. So there it is. Baling wires. That's what it is. Zip ties. Some kind. So let's see. Decaffeinated coffee. Yeah, right. My coffee's getting kind of cool. Hey, you know what? Let me take a 1-minute break. I'm going to go warm up my coffee. I'll be right back. Don't go away. We've got about, we'll go another half an hour probably and do a little bit more. So Mickey and I are going to go warm up this coffee. We'll be right back. Sit tight. Mic's open. Rowan Claire.
You can't hear us. What were you dreaming about today? Last night? You yelled somebody's name.
You remember?
What did you dream about last night?
What did you dream about last night? Don't remember yelling somebody's name? Oh, that's funny. Gorgeous. Wow, your hair is amazing. Okay, I'm going back in. I'm coming back. Here we go. All right, I'm back. There. You can tell it's a Sunday morning. Robes this morning. Robes all around and pajamas. So, there we go. Doug made it for the end of the show. Doug, we'll go for about another half an hour. And then we'll be done. Thereabouts. We'll see. We'll see where the spirit takes us. Yeah, bam, rips open the shirt. Bad boy Scotty, says Teresa. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Zoom chat. Yes, Zoom chat. We'll do a Zoom for members only coming up here too. So I got to get my Zoom set up. My Zoom is set up for doing radio shows, but not from this end, for joining radio shows. So I just have to set it up. That's members only stuff coming up, folks. Roger sent Scotty an email about it. Carla Farrington says, my kiddos are of the fur baby variety, and in their minds, tiny humans are the devil, since they're not around them much. Yeah. Now, Zoom has gotten better in the last year, Lucky Stone. Let's see. Members Zoom. So, and Zoom is going to also help me with the going live with the show. Bringing guests in, stuff like that. Still have yet to do it. So, we'll get that all figured out. Zoom, all you do is open it up, Steph, I give you a link, you open it up, and a password, boom, you're in. You can have Zoom conversations. It's not a broadcast, it's just conversation.
I think my creamer's bad again.
Uh-oh. You can use mine.
No.
So.
No
It's
coffee.
not
Hi.
gluten-free.
No coffee for you.
Please don't pull on
There
me today.
is.
I know you were all touchy and want to be close, but my back hurts. I slept with my butt hanging off the bed and my lower back is on fire.
Nice. So, you need a massage?
No.
A massage. A massage. Bad backs.
Yeah, I know you do.
No, I want to massage her.
So-
Elise wants to massage me dead.
I'm paying
Dad.
attention.
Yeah, she can. So, so there you go. There's my wife in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, technical stuff people are talking about. Yeah, Zoom is pretty easy to use. I just I put out a link and I give you a password and an identifying number. Sign in. Boom, done. Easy to do, Steph. Hands off, Dad, says Doug.
Yeah, hands off.
Yeah. You know what?
Hmm.
My hands are up, but I'm still touching you.
I know.
I'm still touching you in my head.
You have issues.
I have issues. So, I'm trying to think of where we were. We don't have to pick up where we were. Oh, I was going to show you this before we could open it. It's another one of my presents.
That's not yours. That's Flynn's.
Oh, it's Flynn's?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, then I took it away.
you did.
Look at that. That is a 1 pound gummy unicorn. Look at the size of that. That's a gummy bear or a gummy corn. Gummy unicorn. Boom. I wonder how it tastes. Flynn so wanted to break this open. So no, let's wait. I'm going to show it off. So got a big gummy unicorn.
He did. He wanted to eat it all before Rowan came home so she could be super jealous.
Steph says, okay, where on the stream below does it say where to join? There should be right below the window. There should be a join button. Otherwise, you just go out to my main page,
You know the
and there's a
little
join button
little
right below the header
character
on the right
you
side.
wanted to see?
No.
So,
Little astronaut.
hey, Barry, how you doing?
What about it?
Oh,
Good to see you.
I found the card.
Glad you're here.
What he looks like.
And Doug Stack, of course.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Anybody
it.
else wander in while I was going to get coffee? So Rainy is not coffeed up. She has no psychological crutch today,
Oops, sorry.
and it's killing her. So-
With the chair.
Button on the main page. Steph says it's not on my phone. Steph, if you go into any one of the shows that I've done, any video, maybe even this one, I think if you go down below the video window, there's all the links to all my stuff, merchandise, stuff like that. There should be the very last link. There's a link that can take you right to the, you know what? Hold on. I'll just put it in here. Hang on a second. There is a link that you can go to directly. So hang on. If you guys want the link, I'll get it for you. It is, let me get in here and let me hit that. Let me go here. Right here. It's this link. Copy link address. Okay, here's the link, guys, to join the channel. If you don't see the channel button or the join button, boom, right there. You click on that link, and that link will take you to, oh, now it says it's not found. Why? All right, something's up with this. Hang on. Open link. In new tab. Not found. Why is it doing that? Well, here's the join button. If I go join and I hit the join, it's right there. Try this.
Dumb.
Copy. So I've got this non-working link on everything. It's probably due to all the junk that YouTube does. Try this link. Okay, guys, see if that link works. I'm going to test it right now. Oops, something went wrong. Why? Why are things going wrong with the link? That's the link on my join button. Can anybody else, maybe it's because I'm signed in, can anybody else hit the join button, copy the link, and paste it in for us? For people who don't have it.
I found it.
Yeah, I had to use my laptop to do it, Scotty, says Teresa.
Cute.
Carla Farrington, welcome to Intrepid Hardcore Exclusive. Thank you very much, Carla. Nice to have you as a member. See,
Yeah.
doesn't it feel better already? You feel different, don't you? It's like the sun's shining differently. The birds sound different. That's what happens to Raini when she sees me in the morning. Sun's shining differently. The birds sound better.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
You're pretty when you're like got nothing going
Super
on.
tired.
I was
Oh.
super tired. So
I could close my eyes and go back.
let's
to
see. Carla
sleep right
Farrington says youtube.com show. Oh, okay. Her try again. Why isn't it letting her thing show?
now. Cool.
That's interesting. That link, I cannot get that link to show up, Carla. I'm not sure what it's doing. So it's because I'm trying to join. I guess it's just for the elite, says Steph. Here, we'll work it out. We'll work it out as we're going. Roger says, nice, Carla. Welcome to the club. You're officially one of the cool kids now. All right. If I hit join again, it comes up and it has a join that comes up for me. It's got my little picture. It says join this channel, and it's got the 3 different levels when I hit that. But I apparently can't copy a link. Why is that? I wonder why that doesn't work. So there's something about that. I could probably go in, while we're talking, I can go in and I can take a look and find out why it's not letting members come in. There is a members link or a link to become a member. And it's going to be over here in all of this stuff.
It probably just doesn't work like you said because you're logged in. That's your own.
It's probably just because I'm logged in that I can't. But I saw a place where it said, here's the link to invite people. Invite viewers to join your channel with this link.
My bookmark.
Right there. Copy the link. All right. Here, we'll try one more time. Boom. And boom. Okay, folks, hit that link I just pasted. Let's see what happens. Oops, you hit my mouse.
Oops.
Don't. That'll cancel out the whole thing if I click the wrong thing. There you go. That last link I did should work. That should work for you. Okay, there you go. Can't do it on my iPhone. I had to use my laptop, says Teresa. It says member now. And the inner 13-year-old is laughing at the word as the naughty connotation. Yes. Member now. I'm not sure what the naughty connotation is for you, Carla.
Member.
Tell us. Oh, member, like as in Schwann's, things like that. Like that. Oh. Just wearing my robe.
Nice.
That was for
Gross.
you. That was for you. Look, Raini.
I don't want to look. Can't make me.
You can't make me. So there you go. Glad we got that worked out during the show, folks, for you.
I'm all done.
The link. So what did Doug have to say that people are laughing at? Morgan, I will offend you until you join the cool cats. There it is. All right. So I'm really glad to have you all here, and I'm glad that your members don't watch it. You're bumping me, and I got hot coffee while you're trying to crawl up on my chair.
My bookmark.
She just
Mhm.
made bookmarks. She wants to show it off.
Let's see. You just made that just now?
Uh-huh.
What's it say?
Nothing.
Nothing. Got a smiley face and a star and a pharaonic hook and a heart.
No, that's a heart that.
Oh wait,
that
let me see.
won't Work.
It's a
Let me
heart
see.
that didn't work.
That's actually a butt.
No, it's not.
Okay, it's not.
It's a
Sorry.
heart that didn't work, Dad.
Androids are better than
This
iPhone.
one didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Well, I've kind of run through our topics this morning. We didn't
Like
reach
Daddy's
any
here.
conclusions about anything. But this is like Beth said, it's all about discovery. It's continuing to look, it's continuing to discover. continuing to try to find the answers. And for me,
Yeah.
if there is a singular God out there that demands of us obeisance and faith and serving him and so on, why would he make me have to discover who he is? Just tell me who you are. It's that easy. It's like if my wife, if I say to her, I love you, I want to be married to you, I want to spend my life with you, I want to have sex with you and all of that stuff, but you'll never get to see me, you got to go find me. After a while, she might get worn out and go, this guy over here, I can see this guy. I'm taking him. And not you, if I got to keep looking and you give me no clues and you give me no evidence that you really exist, what's in it for anybody? So, except the God playing the game. So, that's what it feels like. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't have any thoughts today.
You have no thoughts. She's just here to make things look pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm beat. I'm tired today.
Are you?
I am.
Well, we can go back to bed.
No.
No.
What?
Go make me
We
breakfast.
just woke up. What do you want?
There's Rowan.
Cool.
Hey, you can go cook for us.
I'm not cooking for you.
Haha. She loves me more.
Yeah.
Haha. That's because I yell at her and make her do stuff.
Did you do the gummy unicorn?
Rainy is blonde today. No thoughts. Ooh. Hope there's no blondes listening. Rainy made me like brunette. That's all I can say.
Dad, did you do the gummy unicorn yet?
I did. I showed people the Gummy Unicorn.
Can I eat it?
No, it's
No,
Flynn's.
it's Flynn's.
Why didn't you
So-
do it?
Because that was the last one.
All right, you can tell, folks, this is a little falling action. It's long falling action. The climax of the show has already happened. So we're all falling action now.
No.
Just remind you all that all this week, Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central Standard, 7 p.m. Left Coast time, Pacific. And that's for the normal show, the regular show. And come on over and participate, at least in the live chat room. We're going to be still talking about holy
I don't want her up here.
language,
I don't
which
want
ties
her.
into a lot of this other stuff we've been talking about. Why is there seemingly a language that seems to coincide with the basic mathematics of the universe? It's an interesting study. 7 p.m. Wrong Coast time, says Doug. How you doing over there, Rainy?
I'm alive. I'm alive.
See, when she's tired, I can't even touch her right. There's no right touch. So,
It just hurts.
just hurts. How's this?
It's okay.
So,
As long as I don't push too hard.
what's the little Miss Roberts holding? What did she have?
Gum.
Oh, gum. Her gum.
She got a three-pack
gum.
of gum yesterday.
This is my
So
gum.
Excited.
Yeah. Her very own flip package gum.
And brother and sister keep taking her gum, so every now and then you hear that.
Yeah, the screech
Yeah.
heard around the world. So, unless anybody else has something they want to add to today's show, I think we might be done for today.
I don't see anybody else.
Launching into a new topic right now about anything other than just talking.
What,
we
we're
can
gonna
just
have
talk.
subjects on Sunday now? What?
Well, we kind of hit topics.
Well, I slept for a long time today instead of.
We
down
talked
here.
about a lot of stuff. We were solving the universe while you were sleeping.
Cool. Did you solve it?
Do you feel like the universe is anywhere near closer to being solved? No, not me. So, well, Beth, you have a great day as well. And Joyce, glad to have you. Yeah, well, watermelon trident. I don't like watermelon candy or gum.
It's weird.
Teresa says, yes, we did. We concluded the Roberts family is not
I have watermelon
abnormal.
gum.
So, yeah, we're pretty normal
Yeah,
folk.
watermelon gum.
So, I see that. Quantum physics now, Doug. That's where we went earlier. You missed that before you got here late.
Where did Ellery go?
She's right down there.
Is she hiding behind the gum? Oh no!
Yeah.
There she is.
There she is. Where are you?
She's on the ground.
All right, folks. That's it. It's we're not going into anything new, and we're dwindling to nothingness on the show. We've not run out of topics. There's just no time to really do justice to any topic. So think about what you'd bring to the world if you were stuck in another time. If you actually got to travel there, which is a stupid hypothetical because we can't do it. Will there ever be time travel? If there will be, why don't we see it now? Maybe we do. Maybe we do experience time travelers. Maybe until it's invented, we won't be able to experience it. What if you could go back in time somewhere?
If you're going to be on camera, don't chaw on your gum.
Yeah, and be quiet when you're on camera.
Oh, Steph just joined the hardcore exclusive.
Oh, hey, Steph. Welcome. Thank you, Steph. Good to have you here. And don't you hit me. A delayed reaction. So thank you, Steph. I appreciate that. Means a lot to me. Yay, you! Steffi is green.
Yay.
There you go. You're green now. Everybody's a green's a member of some sort. All right, guys. That's it. That's all we got today.
Thanks for letting me join with you guys today.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Rainy.
I was late. I enjoyed all your company this morning.
Thanks for coming along, Rainy.
You're
Good to have you here. Thanks for sleeping with me last night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With the
Thank
kid
you
with the
for
kid in
sleeping
the middle.
in between Mom and me. Listen to that laugh.
Teresa says, Bubbles.
Doug's going to go procrastinate now.
Poo-poo!
Masticating. That's right. No masticating on camera. All right, you guys. You go out and you have a good Sunday. And have a fun rest of your weekend. And we'll see you tomorrow night. And very possibly watch for an announcement. If not tomorrow morning, it'll be Tuesday morning. We'll do just another lousy cup of coffee for members only. All right, guys? So there you can see by the time, it's actually 10:50. And so we're going to end, that's not early. It's just we tend to go 2 hours. But so thanks for being here. Cosmic hugs, says Teresa. And you want one too, Barry? You want a child? You can have her. You can take her. So I'll keep the woman. I'll keep the brunette. So everybody have an awesome day and have fun, and we'll have a good week. If I don't see you right away tomorrow, you guys have a good week.
Yeah. Have a nice week.
All right. I'm gonna go hang with my wife. I think we're gonna go back to bed.
Rowan's making me eggs.
Rowan's
eating
making you
breakfast.
Eggs. Outstanding.
Stop chawing on your gum. Chew it quietly.
She's prettier, Dad, like a pony. She's petty. She's petting her dad like a pony. That's what you were doing. Petting me like I was a pony.
Look at that messy hair. You need to go find a brush.
No.
Oh, I was just gonna say something naughty. Child pets me like my wife. She rides me like a pony. Oh, I had to say it. Ching.
Not funny. Bad.
I had to say it. It was there. The door was open. The Love Boat. Exciting and new.
Okay, you gotta quit wiggling because you're making my legs hurt.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
And on that note, that naughty note, we're going to go out. And
Nice.
a cowgirl Rainy.
Yeehaw.
Ooh, I got my lasso. Whew. All right. Shame, says Teresa. Yeah, there you go. So just finished cooking breakfast. Kinsey's jacked to eat. See you guys all tomorrow.
Yum.
And on that same note as Rogers, we'll see you all later. I want to thank you for being here and giving me your time. It's fun on Sunday mornings. Sunday mornings is informal. So thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow night for something more formal. You have a good night.
Bye. Say see ya. Have a good one.
Poo-poo!
Bye. It's over.